Chronarium hum, a discordant symphony of temporal displacement and contained energy. Dr. Aris Thorne barely registered it, his gaze fixed on the shimmering projection displaying the Martian cityscape, thousands of years in the future. Elias Finch, perched on the edge of a control console, wrung his hands, sweat beading on his forehead. The cityscape itself was a marvel, towering structures of polished obsidian and shimmering alloys rising amidst canals of luminescent fluid. It was a testament to a civilization that had mastered technologies beyond Thorne's wildest imaginings. "Magnificent, isn't it, Elias?" Thorne breathed, his voice a reverent whisper. 1,005 years from our time. They're thriving. Look at the infrastructure, the efficiency. Elias swallowed, the lump in his throat making it a painful effort. "It's impressive, Doctor, but the paradox level is still fluctuating. We're pushing the Chronarium harder than ever before." Thorne waved a dismissive hand. "Minor fluctuations. The temporal matrix is stabilizing. Focus on maintaining the projection, Elias. I want a clear visual of the city's central district." Suddenly a tremor ran through the projection, followed by a blinding flash of crimson light. From the heart of the city, colossal forms began to emerge, robots, far larger than anything Thorne had ever conceived. Their designs were brutal, efficient, lacking any aesthetic grace. They moved with unsettling purpose, their movements accompanied by a low, guttural hum. "What's happening? What are those things?" Elias stammered, scrambling to adjust the image stabilization. Thorne's exhilaration evaporated, replaced by a growing unease. He leaned closer to the projection, his eyes tracing the robot's intricate mechanics. A cold dread began to creep into his heart. The lines, the angles, they were familiar. Too familiar. "Impossible," he muttered, his voice barely audible. "The chassis design is servo-arm configuration. It's based on my theoretical work. The MKF-7 automaton plans, but refined, massively improved." The robots began their assault. With terrifying speed and precision, they systematically dismantled the city's infrastructure. Buildings collapsed, canals evaporated, and the once thriving metropolis was plunged into chaos. The image on the screen became increasingly fragmented, distorted by the apocalyptic destruction. "Doctor, the energy signature is spiking. The Chronarium is destabilizing," Elias cried, his voice laced with panic. Thorne ignored him, his gaze fixed on a section of the projection showing a large, subterranean facility. Within its depths he glimpsed figures working tirelessly, their movements precise and methodical. As the camera zoomed in, he saw one figure, a man hunched over a workstation, his back to the viewer. The man began to assemble another robot, his movements mirroring Thorne's own design notes. Then the figure turned. The man's face was a distorted reflection of Thorne's own. The eyes held the same intensity, the set of the jaw the same stubborn determination. But there was something off, a subtle asymmetry, a coldness in the gaze that Thorne had never seen in his own reflection. "What?" Thorne gasped, staggering back from the console. "It's mere mockery of me." Suddenly, a distorted voice crackled over the Chronarium's consystem. It was archaic, overlaid with a strange, rhythmic cadence. The echo resonates. Threads unravel. Guardians awaken. Convergence approaches. The message was interspersed with snippets of a language Thorne didn't recognize, a linguistic tapestry woven from Sumerian, Proto-Indo-European, and something utterly alien. He recognized the underlying structure, the mathematical elegance underlying the vocalizations. It was a language based on prime numbers and a Fibonacci sequence, a language that suggested an intelligence far older and more advanced than humanity's. What does that mean?" Elias whimpered, his face pale. Before Thorne could respond, the Chronarium's reinforced steel doors burst inward with a deafening crash. 4 figures, clad in dark, featureless masks, stormed into the laboratory, their movements fluid and purposeful. Each carried a weapon unlike anything Thorne had ever seen, sleek, metallic devices that hummed with contained energy. "Intruders! Security protocols, Elias!" Thorne shouted, instinctively reaching for a prototype sonic disruptor hidden beneath his lab coat. The masked figures moved with unnerving speed, neutralizing the lab's automated defense systems with disconcerting ease. They ignored Thorne's disruptor, their attention focused on the Chronarium itself. Thereafter the temporal projection, Elias stammered, ducking behind a console. "They know what we're doing." One of the masked figures raised a hand, and a wave of energy pulsed outward, freezing the lab's occupants in place. Thorne felt a searing pain in his head, a disorienting sense of disorientation. "We need to stop them," he grunted, struggling against the paralysis. "Whatever they're planning, it's connected to the future. To my asterisk designs." The masked figure who seemed to be the leader approached the Chronarium console. He typed a complex sequence of commands, causing the projection of the Martian city to shift, revealing a hidden chamber beneath the ruined metropolis. Within the chamber, Thorne saw a colossal machine, a temporal engine of unimaginable scale. The leader of the masked figures began to manipulate the engine's controls, preparing to open a gateway through time. They're going to rewrite history, Thorne realized, a fresh wave of horror washing over him. They're going to use the future to change our past. Just as the masked figure initiated the temporal jump, Thorne felt a surge of energy coursing through his veins. The paralysis began to recede, and he managed to break free from his frozen state. Elias, activate emergency temporal firewall, Thorne yelled, lunging toward the Chronarium console. Elias, struggling against his own paralysis, managed to comply. A shimmering barrier of energy enveloped the laboratory, disrupting the masked figure's temporal jump. The laboratory plunged into darkness. The masked figures vanished without a trace. The temporal firewall flickered, threatening to collapse. Thorne, breathing heavily, leaned against the console. He knew that this was just the beginning. The masked figures, the Sumerian transmission, the doppelganger, they were all pieces of a larger, more sinister puzzle. What was that? Elias asked, his voice trembling. Thorne didn't answer. He stared at the Chronarium projection, now displaying a static-filled screen. He knew that he had stumbled upon something ancient, something dangerous. He thought of the man in the future, the distorted reflection of himself. He wondered who he was, what his motivations were, and he realized that he had become a pawn in a game far older and more complex than he could have ever imagined. We need to find out who they are, Thorne said, his voice grim, and why they's using my designs to destroy the future. He paused, his gaze fixed on the Chronarium's controls, and while they were unraveling the threads, he looked at Elias. Prepare a full-spectrum analysis of the Sumerian transmission, and find everything you can on the Fibonacci sequence. We're going to need to understand more about what's coming.